Hello, konnichiwa, ni hao. Today we're going to be talking about a source of information that might be interesting to get your financial ideas from. There's a site called Zerohedge. It's an interesting site. I find it fascinating to read. Almost all the stories are going to be negative. It's going to tell you about how the next crash is coming, how everybody's going bankrupt, the world is coming to an end soon. It's a great, very inspiring website if you like kind of doomsday stuff. Now, the problem with the site is that since it's always negative, it definitely has a tilt and a bias, and it may make you want to think, hey, maybe I should short the whole market because things are just going to collapse soon. That would be kind of a mistake because this website, no matter what, is going to tell you that the market is overvalued, the next crash is coming, there's going to be a lot of corporate bankruptcies, all these companies are a bunch of fraud, and only idiots buy stocks. So the truth is, you need to, if you read this website, it's very important to keep in mind the bias because they keep it constantly. It's not as though they say, oh, well, the market's doing well, we're going to turn it off a bit and then try to think about things rationally. That's not quite how it works. I think I've seen other YouTubers talk about how they've lost money by following Zerohedge because they thought, well, they're so negative and it looks like good insight. Maybe I should short the market or stay out of the market. Because if you had stayed out of the market from 2009 or shorted it, you would not have done very well. And that's exactly kind of the idea that Zerohedge would have told you that you should have done. And of course,
Are you Google?
YouTube. About the site though is that it kind of helps you to have a different frame of mind. A lot of the ideas you normally would have, maybe sometimes you're too optimistic because you read these other sites that are always telling you that you should be invested in the market, but then at least this site will tell you, there's some kind of negative things I should actually consider. I haven't thought about this. I haven't thought about the big risks that exist. Now, this site will always tell you to also invest in gold, and actually that's not a bad idea. The only problem is there are some issues that exist with gold. For one thing, with gold, there's storage fees that you need to pay. If you buy gold, you're not going to store it at home. I actually happen to know someone, won't mention who it is, but there's someone that I know personally who lost a ton of money because of a home invasion and their gold was stolen. So if you buy a lot of gold, you don't want to store it at home because that's not very secure. If you want to buy gold, you have to have it stored in a gold depository, and you have to pay a yearly fee for that, and that's fine. But here's the problem though. Let's say there's a pandemic. How do you get your gold? The place is closed because they don't want people in there getting your germs and getting the virus. So that's a huge negative issue. The issue is you're not going to be able to even get your gold. Or you could buy a GLD on the stock exchange, but there have been people who have said there are issues with that because maybe the gold is leased to other companies or there's issues with ownership of that, and that doesn't sound that great actually. That sounds like there could be a big problem. The other issue is that the taxes on commodities like gold are 28% compared to 20% for equities, so it's definitely higher if you make a profit with your gold. So something to keep in mind. Now, have you what do you think of this site, Zerohedge?
They are obviously very doomsday oriented, and what's funny is they do like to make fun of Goldman Sachs a lot. However, if Goldman Sachs releases a negative doomsday type story about the market, they will publish it and they will act as though this is the Zerohedge kind of bias of this is what Zerohedge believes is going to happen almost. But what's funny is they used to make fun of Goldman Sachs and call the people that follow Goldman Sachs advisors the Muppets. But then they would publish it, and what's funny is they got to a point where nobody started believing anything that Goldman Sachs released, and then finally in February they actually did have a prescient article saying the market was going to take a big crash imminently,
Wow.
And nobody believed it because they said, well, this is Goldman Sachs does the opposite and make money. But that was the one time where it actually went down. Obviously, March, the market tanked big time. But yeah, after a while, people don't believe the stories that Goldman Sachs releases, and it's almost as though they manipulated it, knowing that nobody would believe the story, to show that they finally turned around. So
that's an interesting thing about Zerohedge. You'll see a lot of doomsday stories about stocks, but they also show how sometimes they can be even wrong. As an example, they showed how Venezuela's stock market was, I forgot what year it was, but the Venezuela stock market was one of the best stock markets in the world, but the economy was garbage, and everything was falling apart, and there was hyperinflation beyond the wazoo. So in a way, if you really follow them very closely, if you have a situation right now where the government is going into super debt and it has super deficits, maybe the stocks make sense, because maybe they're gonna make the last stand, just like they did in Venezuela, where they go to the moon because of all the money printing. That's also a possibility that you have to consider very, very seriously, just following their own logic. So I guess that's enough. I recommend checking out their website. It's zerohedge.com. I think that you will find it an entertaining read, and get back to me. Go back in the comments and say, hey Michael, I like this website, or I don't like it. And also don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe. See you in the next video.